Hey, this is the Antisocial Socialite back at it again. Shout out to all the wonderful new subscribers and returning friends. Welcome. If you are new to the channel, you have not yet subscribed. What are you waiting for, darling? Hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell. So when I get to running this mouth, baby, you are in the loop. You see the title, you know what time it is. We are talking about these wayward side chicks and main chicks and everybody getting shut down, and it's a bit too much. Okay, I know that this story is about 4 months old. I'm pretty sure people covered it already because this lady looks familiar. I know I saw this story earlier, but recently I came across a video on WorldStar of a young lady confronting her man and the girlfriend or the side piece. She's smashing out the window, she's going crazy, and then the woman whips out a gun and she basically empties it on somebody. We don't know what happened. I haven't followed the story up, so I personally don't know if she hit the woman, if she hit the boyfriend, or what's happened, how recent or how old that video is. Okay, but obviously as I'm looking through other people's commentary and I'm looking at just videos are popping up in general on this type of subject, I found this video again and I was looking at it. I thought, let me just have a quick look because it's kind of similar in the realm. What caught my eye was the thumbnail. I think I saw this story somewhere else where the lady is showing you how she basically was hospitalized, obviously, and I think she was almost paralyzed or something as a result of this attack. So I want to play the video. It's not very long, it's only 4 minutes, and then I'm going to come back with my commentary.
At the time, I was seeing this guy almost a year into our relationship. He began to be unfaithful. The girl my boyfriend was cheating on me with, she became a living nightmare. She would always come to my house when she knew me and him was together. He was just playing the middleman. He was telling her one thing, telling me one thing, and I just got fed up with it after a while. Me and him had kind of drifted apart. It was Halloween 2020. I had a party to go to at the end of the day. I had a nice, pretty costume. I picked up my best friend and we headed out to the party. I came home and I decided just to chill out on the couch and watch some television. And then I got a phone call from the girl. I answered and it was her in the bed with him. She had went through his phone that night and seen that me and him were together the day prior. She was very upset. I said, you can have him. He's clearly there with you. Good luck. So I hung up the phone and she called me back. She said, I'll come shoot up your windows. I just wrote it off as fight talk. I started to get ready to go to bed. My boyfriend at the time, he had this old van, has this like loud motor. I hear the motor of his van, so I look out the windows and it was his van, and I see someone in all black come out the car. I just immediately ran outside, and as I'm walking up, I'm realizing it's the girl. I asked her, what was she doing here? She pulls out the gun, and I just froze. I just knew she was going to kill me at that moment. She immediately just started shooting. The first 3 shots, she hit my stomach. It just felt like the wind got knocked out of my body. It felt like I was in a room of fire. I was face down on the ground, and she's still continuing to shoot me in my back and in my legs, and I'm just screaming for help. My neighbor on the top floor, I hear her scream out her window, stop, leave her alone. I called the police. She's just saying, die. And that moment, I just said, okay, Nicole, you got to stop screaming. You have to play dead because she's not going to leave until she thinks you're dead. Eventually, she ran off to the car. My neighbor, she was down like in 2 seconds. She said, Nicole, you got to stop screaming. You have to play dead because she's not going to leave until she thinks you're dead. Eventually, she ran off to the car. My neighbor, she was down like in 2 seconds. She started to hold my hand. I'm drenched in blood. I remember hearing the sirens coming. The ambulance, they rushed me off to the hospital. When I'm in the hospital, I can feel just 1,000 people surrounding me, and they're counting. I'm not understanding what they're counting. I was put into a medically induced coma. I woke up 4 days later and I realized that they were counting my gunshot wounds. When I woke up, they told me that I had been shot 17 times. I got shot multiple times in my legs. I couldn't even feel them when I woke up. The first time seeing my mom after getting shot was on a tablet. I couldn't see her. It was COVID. I just remember her telling me, you fight, you be strong, you're going to live through this. They told me that I probably wouldn't be walking, but I was walking in rehab within 3 weeks. Very good. I do walk with a walker. I'm kind of slower than I used to be. I went through a deep depression after being shot, having suicidal thoughts every day. I lived through 17 bullets and I still didn't want to be here because the pain was just so unbearable. I didn't recognize myself anymore. Relying on people for transportation and to do things for me was just miserable. I do still have my days, but I'm dealing with it better. I was able to give the police her name while I was in the hospital, so they had her in custody within the next hour or so. She's been in county jail awaiting her trial. She actually stole my boyfriend's van while he was asleep that night. He was very apologetic, and he felt bad. But once he was assured that I was alive and well, he kind of went back to his old ways. I don't hate her. I went through a long process of why me? Why did this have to happen to me?
Okay. And I shouldn't really laugh, okay? I shouldn't really laugh. But this situation was a little bit ridiculous. Okay. So this lady said she was with a guy and they were together for about a year, and then he started cheating. And at this point, when the guy started cheating, that should have been the moment where you said, it's okay, I'm done. All right. I know we don't like this concept, or people call it blaming the victim, but it's not blaming the victim when you are a participant in your own destruction and demise. Okay. This lady said that she started seeing this guy and he started seeing another woman. And then she said we drifted apart. But then the next minute, she's with the guy. On the day before the shooting, she was with the man. And the man is in the bed with the side chick, and the side chick is calling. Now, first and foremostly, if somebody is showing you aggressive behavior, okay, like this woman was clearly mentally unstable and she was a stalker. This was an ongoing situation. The day that she found out her man was cheating was not the day that the chick rolled up in the man's rickety van and decided to hop out and shoot her. These two women were having some type of back and forth long before the actual incident. Okay, so let's just be honest about that situation. This man was not, he was stringing her along, but she allowed him to string her along because she believed maybe this was the best she could possibly do. Okay, so they've been together a year. I doubt very much that this was a love and rainbows and unicorns type of relationship. Okay, I'm not sure that he necessarily changed overnight. All right, but at the end of the day, he was a cheater. Okay, and so at the point when this lady realized, like, this man is no good, he's not loyal, he's not faithful, he doesn't really want me like that, you should have said, it's okay, I'm done, whatever happens happens, and you can be with this woman if you want to be with this other woman. Okay, like, shop is locked, you know, the gates are closed, and it just is what it is. Okay, so she's with this man, and this man is treating her disrespectfully, and she's allowing it. Okay, this is the point I really want to get to. She is allowing this man to disrespect her because of whatever reasoning. She thinks she can't do any better. She doesn't have a lot of options. She really loves him. He keeps telling her things. Once you know this person is a cheater and they are a habitual cheater, like they literally stay cheating, you should have enough self-respect to walk away. Okay, it's not worth it. And as we can see, it's getting really deadly out here. The next thing, I didn't really say it explicitly in the last Sidechick shooting video, is when these people do what they do, i.e. take out a gun and decide, I'm going to take out my so-called competition, do you guys realize how ridiculous you look? Okay, you kill the girlfriend. Let's say it's a side chick shooting a main chick. You shoot the main chick. You go to prison. Okay, or you get gunned down by the police. You have to turn the gun on yourself, or you get the death penalty. You are still not with that man, okay, because you've been taken out in some respects. If you accidentally kill the boyfriend, which we saw in the last video, because this woman is just letting off shots, she could actually kill the man she's so-called fighting over. Guess what? You either turn the gun on yourself, you get taken out by the police, you end up in jail, or maybe you get the death penalty. Guess what? You and that man are still not together. Okay? If you decide, I'm just going to take myself out, you know, guess what? You and the man are not going to be together. So this whole I'm going to kill people over these other people, it just is so ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Ultimately, you guys are not going to be together. Even if you take everybody out and do a whole Reggae Black, you are not going to be together. It is completely pointless to go and fight over somebody who cannot keep their genitals to themselves. And so I just want to say to people, whether you're the side chick, the main chick, or the one doing the cheating, this situation is a mess. Just stop it, okay? Just stop. It's not worth it. So the next thing is this, all right? The woman is stalking you. She should have had a restraining order against her and some type of documentation to show that she is threatening, that she's dangerous, and she's violent. Why did this woman not just call the police? I mean, I'm not saying she did it, but she said this woman was making her life a living nightmare. Anytime she shows up anywhere, like as soon as that van pulled up, you should have been like, okay, what's going on? But why take yourself out of the house and go and confront this man who was literally in your mind, to your understanding, just crawled off another woman? Like at the end of the day, you can say whatever you want about, why she done what she done. But these will be the same women complaining about black men when you know this man has literally just left sleeping with another woman. Okay, he is literally slept with another woman, and he had the audacity to come to the house. Okay, and I know people might say, well, that's a bit harsh to say, but I don't doubt that if he was actually the one in the van, she wouldn't have let him come into the house, sit down, eat her food, and she would have also given him sex as well. This woman has a clear understanding this man has at least one other woman on the go. And yet, despite the fact that he has been cheating to her knowledge for some time, she was with this man the day before the shooting, which means she has absolutely no problem being with a man she knows cannot be faithful. Again, this speaks to low self-esteem and a low sense of self-worth. Okay. So the woman gets out of the van. She's not supposed to be there. You're under the impression it's the boyfriend because the person showed up in his vehicle. All right. Once you see it's the woman, you shouldn't even challenge her. You should go straight into the house and you should actually call the police because she did actually threaten you and tell you, I'm going to come to your house and shoot out your windows. And I know a lot of times people get heated, they get angry, and they say all kind of things. Oh, I wish you were dead. I would kill you. If I could get hold of you, I would kill you. And before I would say a lot of people are just saying that because it's an expression, they're blowing off hot air. But these days, if somebody says, I'm going to kill you, you have to take that as a literal threat. And in this instant, this woman did not take it seriously. Now, I know she painted a very soft picture, and I know a lot of people are not going to like this, but there's always three sides to a story: my side, your side, and the truth that's somewhere in the middle. And I don't believe that this woman had a very calm and collected conversation. I can imagine there was a lot of B's and H's being thrown around, and you do this and I do that. It looks like when the woman called the first time, she hung the phone up on her. You're already dealing with somebody who is deranged, okay? You're dealing with somebody who is clearly not stable, because as long as you are dealing with this man, okay, this woman is always going to be in the picture. I understand that sometimes you may not want to get rid of your relationship. Like, she maybe really likes the guy. But if the man was not cheating, I could have understood you being so faithful to this man. But this man is actually bringing a problematic female into your life. So why are you keeping the person who is opening the doorway for all this drama, trouble, and confusion? She said that it came out that this man was sleeping with this other woman. The woman was making her life miserable. And yet the man wasn't doing anything about it. He was still going back and forth between the two women. She gives the impression that he was telling her one thing and, telling, one woman one thing and another woman the other thing. But at the end of the day, we do not necessarily attract what we are. I used to say that a lot, but I'm going to change it. We retain what we are, okay? And so if this woman believed that this was the best she could do, she is going to entertain this rubbish despite the fact that it's clear this man does not give a damn about your physical or your mental well-being. Why do we know this? Because the woman is harassing her, and yet he is not doing anything to stop it. And he's clearly not breaking off the commitment and the interaction with this woman because she's showing herself to be dangerous. I know, again, this is something else people are not going to like, but this is what we mean by people are attracted to drama and chaos. At the end of the day, this woman could have picked a man who was going to be monogamous, who was going to be faithful, who was going to treat her with respect. He cares about her well-being. And yet she decided to stay and hitch her wagon to a man who is clearly showing her nothing but disrespect. Okay? Now, I've already said a couple of things that people are not going to like. But as it got to this point in the video where you can see that this lady is a plus size woman, okay, it got me to thinking about why would somebody tolerate this high level of disrespect? And, there's no way to say it nicely. It looks like she comes from quite a big family. And I've talked about this before, okay? This concept of mothers making their women, their daughters in particular, very large and, not grooming them to be healthy, not grooming them to have a certain look and be the kind of women that can attract the kind of high quality men that a lot of women say that they want, okay? And so I was looking at, let me see if I can find the right link. I hope it's this one. I was looking at the impact of childhood obesity on, our long-term decision making. And I came across this little article, and people might say it's far-fetched, you're reaching, you're just trying to shame the victim and make her feel bad. But I do believe that there is a connection here where you see that at least the mother is a big woman. She has allowed her daughter to get to a size that means it's going to impact her physical health, her mental health, and maybe the way she sees herself, which means she's more tolerant of abusive behavior. And yes, staying with a person who is cheating on you constantly and who does not respect your needs or your boundaries, well, I mean, obviously this lady, she hasn't exerted boundaries. That's why he's abusing them, okay? She hasn't set up boundaries. And so, but a person who is treating you in a disrespectful manner like that, to an extent, it is abuse, okay? Although she's a volunteer, not really a victim. So in this article, it says the emotional toll of obesity. You've heard the stories about the happy fat person, right? Well, as comforting as they might be, particularly if your own child is heavy, they may be more a myth than reality in most children's lives. Not only are there health costs associated with childhood obesity, but your child's weight problem is also intimately entangled in his emotional world. The social stigma. For children who are overweight, living with excess pounds can be heartbreaking. In its own way, the social stigma attached to being overweight can be as damaging to a child as the physical disease and conditions that often accompany obesity. In a society that puts a premium on thinness, studies show that children as young as 6 years may associate negative stereotypes with excess weight and believe that a heavy child is simply less likable. Self-esteem and school bullying. True, some children who are overweight are very popular with their classmates and have plenty of self-confidence. But in general, if your child is obese, he is more likely to have low self-esteem than his thinner peers. His weak self-esteem can translate into feelings of shame about his body, and his lack of self-confidence can lead to poorer academic performance at school. You probably don't need a detailed description of how difficult the day-to-day life for children who are overweight can sometimes be. These youngsters may be told by classmates and even adults that being heavy is their own fault. They might be called names. They could be subjected to teasing and bullying. Their former friends may avoid them, and they may also have trouble making new friends. They could be the last one to be chosen when teams are selected in physical education classes. Depression. With all of this turmoil, he may feel as though he doesn't belong or fit anywhere. He may see himself as different and an outcast. He'll often feel lonely and is less likely than his peers to describe himself as popular or cool. And when this scenario becomes ingrained as part of his life, month after month, year after year, he can become sad and clinically depressed and withdraw into himself. Emotional eating. In an ironic twist, some children who are overweight might seek emotional comfort in food. adding even more calories to their plate at the same time that their pediatrician and parents are urging them to eat less. At the end, add to that the other emotional peaks and valleys of life, including the stress of moving to a new community, difficulties in school, or the death of a parent or a divorce. Some children routinely overindulge in food. Discrimination. There are other obesity related repercussions that continue well into adolescence and beyond. Heavy teenagers and adults might face discrimination based solely on their weight. Some research suggests that they are less likely to be accepted for admission by prestigious universities. They may also have a reduced chance of landing good jobs than their thinner peers. Women who are overweight have a decreased likelihood of dating or finding a marriage partner. Okay. In short, when heavy children become heavy adults, they tend to earn less money and marry less often than their friends who are of average weight. Okay. This was last updated. I'm not sure if this is American or British. So if this is Britain, then it's the 3rd of September, and if it's in America, it's March 9th, March the 9th. Okay, so I don't know whether this is in the UK. Wait, it's America. Okay, it's March. Okay, so in the UK, it's day, month, year. In the States, it's month, day, year. Okay, but the last part is obviously the bit that I want to talk about. So this lady, maybe she comes from a big family. Okay, this is not to demonize plus size people, but unfortunately, the problem is for people who are bigger, there is going to be a bias. Unfortunately, men tend to not want women who appear to already be with child. And so there's a biological drive for men to want women that have a certain hip to waist ratio. It doesn't even matter if you are heavier, as long as the ratio is good to some extent. Because obviously we know there are some men who like women who carry a little bit more extra weight. And black men typically don't want ultra slender women. They do like women who have, if it's a little bit of weight, but it's laying right, and it's, all the lumps and bumps in the right places. A lot of black men are happy to take a woman who would be considered by the BMI overweight if she is well proportioned and toned up and everything in the right places. But this lady, I'm not saying she was always big. For all we know, she could have been a slender child, but definitely as a heavier set woman, I do feel like this could have contributed to the way she views herself and her dating options, and why she tolerated this systematic disrespect. Because this was not one time. This was continually, this man is flitting between these two women and she is allowing it. And I just feel like when I saw this situation, obviously her mother loves her, her mother accepts her, her mother made her feel good and everything. And women, we come around each other, and unfortunately women co-sign negative behaviors. We see a lot of pushback now when men say, we want women to be in shape. We want women to be slender. We want women to be, obviously not me because I'm not looking for a woman. But when men are saying these things, they are getting a lot of pushback. And one of the things that you often hear women use as a rebuttal is, well, men like women who are curvy. They don't mind. They want the women to have a big chest. They want these women to have a big behind and everything. And although there is some truth to that, women are using that logic as an excuse to be excessively big. And unfortunately, that is limiting a lot of women's dating options. No, this is not something that was created by Kevin Samuels. I did see a video by a lady called Statuesque One. She actually was part of what would be considered the first iteration of the manosphere. And she made a video called, Is Your Obesity or Is Your Weight Keeping You Single? And this is a black woman talking more than a decade ago on YouTube. You can go and find the video. Maybe I'll link it below so you guys can go and listen. This is not a new or a novel concept, okay? A lot of people who talk about leveling up femininity, divestment. They have tried to broach this subject long before Kevin Samuels. So before you come in the comment section saying you're only saying that because Kevin Samuels says it, no, this is something that has been discussed ad nauseum for a long time. And yes, I understand obesity across the Black community is an issue. Black men and Black women could do a little bit of work when it comes to this situation, but we are talking specifically about the women. If you are toned, if you're taking care of the way you look and things like that, you open up your options to all races of men if that's what you like. And so this isn't about appeasing or appealing to simply Black men. First and foremostly, it's about you and your health, me and my health. Getting in shape, taking off a few pounds is going to increase the quality of our life, because obesity comes with a lot of health issues, but it also comes sometimes with even physical restrictions. And so I know this might seem a little bit of a stretch, but I wanted to look at this from a different angle. And it doesn't just apply to obesity. It could apply to people who come from traumatic childhoods. It could apply to people who have been victims of abuse. Maybe they come from broken homes. And as we've talked about so many times, the concept of adverse childhood experiences, how, they are categorized into three groups, obviously neglect, abuse, and environmental factors. And these different childhood situations, they actually can make young people grow into adults who struggle to see themselves in a positive way. It can affect their physical health, because if you're going through certain stresses during childhood, that can actually make you more susceptible to disease later on in life. But on top of that, it can actually increase the chances of you engaging in behaviors that compound the already existing situation. So things like sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, physical or emotional neglect, and things like the substance abuse, watching maybe a parent experience domestic violence, parents who have mental health issues, parents who are maybe incarcerated and things like that, some type of parental alienation. These are known as adverse childhood experiences. And the more you experience in your youth, the more chances you are of even having a premature death. And one of the impacts of adverse childhood experiences is poor decision making, not protecting yourself, substance abuse, depression, which can lead to risky behavior or self-neglect. And in some instances, tolerating abuse and bad behavior from others is a form of self-abuse or self-harm or self-neglect. So with that being said, I really appreciate everybody who came through. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Have you ever been in this situation? Or if you knew somebody who was in a situation like this, what kind of advice would you give to them? If you are new, you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Share the video with somebody who needs to see it. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.